Hi, this is Danny Brown, and I'm the CEO of Myriad Real Estate Group. Today I want to talk about when is the right time to buy a home. So right now I'm seeing a lot of videos on YouTube from realtors and lenders banging the drum that you should buy as quickly as possible because interest rates are probably going to be going up in the near term and you want to get locked in while interest rates are low. Well, part of that is true, that you do want to have lower interest rates and that the affordability of a home is more based on a monthly basis than the total purchase amount, and that affordability is heavily impacted by the interest rate. But there are some steps that you need to put in place as a buyer before you even consider buying a property. I am personally a big proponent of making sure that you have terrible debt paid off first. So that's things like credit cards. Of course, you're going to have an auto loan and you're going to have student loan debt, but I think paying off all your credit cards first before you start shopping for a home is really important. Then the next thing you want to do is you want to have 3 to 6 months in reserve. That's incredibly important, especially when you own a home, because there's always going to be these unknown costs that come up. Homes require maintenance, and if you don't have a landlord, you are the one that has to make those repairs. So it's really important to have a little bit of a nest egg set aside for these incidentals and these things that come up. And most financial advisors will always recommend somewhere between 3 to 6 months of your general expenses. Once you have that, then start saving for your down payment. And in general, I've also been a big proponent of putting as little down on the purchase of a home as possible because interest rates have been so low and properties have been appreciating relatively quickly. So as long as that trend continues, you want to use as much of someone else's money for your purchase as you can afford on a monthly basis. So a lot of people get hung up in trying to put down 20%. You don't necessarily need to put down 20%. You can put down somewhere between 3 to 5%, leverage somebody else's money at a really low interest rate to get into a home as long as you can afford that monthly payment. So buying a home is much more than just an investment. It's somewhere that you have to live. And I think as long as it is that, it's always going to be a good investment, regardless of where interest rates are, regardless of where pricing is. And you as the buyer need to be in the position and ready to buy before actually buying a home. And for me, it's making sure that you have your finances in order, paying off that terrible debt, having 3 to 6 months reserve set aside, and then a down payment of somewhere between 3 to 5% of the purchase price. So, I'm always going to be bullish on real estate. It is my career, and I do have, a biased opinion. But personally, I believe that the quickest path to wealth in this country is through home ownership. The stats really prove it as well, that people who own homes tend to be wealthier than people who rent. And my general philosophy when it comes to a mortgage is that it's more like a forced savings account. So if you're making this payment on this debt month after month after month, if you think of the debt more as a savings account, that you're putting the money aside month after month after month, and you've got this asset that is constantly appreciating as your debt is going down, that's why people who own tend to be wealthier than people who rent. Now, if you rent, can you be wealthy? Absolutely. You just have to remember to save. And as Americans, we tend to be pretty terrible at saving, and this is a forced savings account where you have to make that payment every single month, and then you're also gaining that appreciation. So that's kind of why I believe that the quickest path to wealth is through home ownership. And when you're purchasing that property, when it comes time for you to sell, you're getting all that money back that you've paid towards your mortgage, plus the appreciation, and you're leveraging it into probably a bigger property. And then the next time it's even bigger property. So you're scaling up as your lifestyle changes. And then you get to the point where you're ready for retirement, you might be an empty nester, what have you, and then you sell that giant asset and you get all of that money to help then fund your retirement, and you downsize into a smaller home. So that's kind of the stages of growing your wealth through home ownership. And so you should never feel pressured as a buyer to purchase. You should get your finances in order first and then purchase when it's the right time for you, and ignore all the noise that it's out there, ignore all the pundits, the realtors banging their drums on it's a good time to buy, the lenders on it's a good time to buy, and buy when it's the right time for you. Hope you found this video useful. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and thank you so much.